Good afternoon, all, and welcome to the 40th anniversary celebration of Furniture Today. We have an incredible couple of hours in store for you today and are so glad to spend some time with you doing so. So what was happening 40 years ago today in the US? Ronald Reagan was sworn in as the 40th president. Believe it or not, IBM introduces its first personal computer. Super Bowl 15, the Raiders beat the Eagles 27-10. And as Walter Cronkite signed off as an anchorman, Howard Stern signs on as a broadcaster. But maybe most importantly is Furniture Today launches, publishing its first America's Top Furniture Stores. I'm sure 40 years ago, Kay Henderson and her team wouldn't have imagined how valued the Furniture Today publication is to the industry and nation as a whole. Today, Furniture Today, as they've had for the last 40 years, continues to be a leader in the furniture industry, providing leading insights, research, and reporting. As many know, Genesis Credit is a proud sponsor of many Furniture Today events and activities like the Top 100 Report, Leadership Conference, and now this celebration of 40 years. As I researched that first edition of what now is the Furniture Top 100, I found some interesting tidbits worthy to share. $1 in 1981 is now worth $3.21 today. There were 5 furniture retailers who generated over $100 million in sales back then. Today, there are 71 retailers doing over $100 million. If you consider inflation, 5 stores over $100 million in 1981 now is 33 today that are making over $321 million. So back in 81, Levitt's Furniture dominated the first report, leading the way with over $500 million in 74 stores. There were some longevity retailers like today's number 18 Haverty's, who barely slid in at $110 million, now are doing over $800 million today. And number 21 Badcock's, $107 million in 81, now over $537 million. They were also part of the top 5 back then. Could anyone have imagined in 81 an industry giant like Ashley Furniture leading the way, coming in over $5 billion in sales with over 700 locations in the US? Do you think Mrs. B from Nebraska Furniture Mart, with one location in 81, 250,000 square feet, and doing $73 million, imagine being part of the Berkshire Hathaway family today that generates well over $2 billion in sales combined with all their stores? Did the Seaman family and their 18 locations in 1981, doing a combined $60 million, imagine Jeff would take Rooms to Go to the 5th position today in sales, over 150 locations generating $2.5 billion in sales? As we look back over these last 40 years, we've seen things that we couldn't imagine then, especially this last year. We've seen furniture retailers come and go. We've seen technology play an incredible part in how the furniture industry sells today. And lastly, we've seen Furniture Day to be a consistent and important part of the daily lives of all the folks who make up this crazy industry and all the fun that goes into it. On behalf of Genesis Credit Team, we'd like to congratulate Furniture Today on this outstanding milestone of longevity. Let's have some fun celebrating Furniture Today and some other retailers who are deserving of this recognition today.
Good afternoon and welcome to the 40th anniversary celebration of Furniture Today's Top 100 Retail Ranking. As we celebrate this today, the list began in May of 1981. It is technically at that time only contained 70 retailers, and only 10 of which are still listed on the list exactly as they were at that time. We appreciate you joining us for this celebration. Here with me today is Mark Denman, President of Genesis Credit, who will introduce our keynote speaker. Mark, thank you for joining us. We appreciate your support, and I always enjoy seeing you at our events.
Thank you for having us. We're gracious to be here. We really enjoy and appreciate everything that Furniture Today does in terms of contributions to the industry. Nobody does it as good as you all do, that's for sure. And speaking of contributions to the industry, our keynote speaker is a gentleman who needs no introduction. Jerry Epperson has committed his life to providing guidance, research, insight, and intelligence to the furniture world. You will struggle to find someone more dedicated, respected, and committed to the cause. Jerry is an experienced contributor to Furniture Today, as well as his firm's monthly research piece, Furnishings Digest, which first published in 1974. Jerry, you must have been 5 years old when you found your calling. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Jerry Epperson.
Thank you, Bill and Mark. I appreciate that. I'm here in my intergalactic headquarters in Richmond, Virginia, in my little home office. Thank all of you for joining me. Thank you, Furniture Today, for allowing me this opportunity to talk about one of my favorite subjects, and that's all these wonderful furniture stores I've visited and wandered through over the years. It's been a real education, and getting to know some of these people is really the fun part of it. When I look back through the last 40 years of these top, I was trying to think of a good way to organize them to talk about it. And so I hope what I've done today makes some sense, and I hope that you find it worthwhile. Now let's go to another slide. Now, one of the things you got to keep in mind, if you're old enough like me, prior to the mid-1970s, the only places you could buy furniture in the United States were furniture stores and department stores. And a lot of people don't understand that. They find that very hard to believe, but there's an easy answer. They were the only two places to have consumer credit and home delivery. And that's what the consumer needed at that time. Excuse me, by the way, I'm going to mention something else off the subject. On February 26th, I had an accident and fell. And when I had an accident and fell, I broke my spine. And so I'm wearing a back brace that looks like I'm wearing a bulletproof vest. So please forgive me. This is not anything except a back brace, and no, I'm not in pain. So I apologize just in case you wondered what that was. Okay. Now, let's look at some department stores. How many of them do you remember? I remember so much of every one of them. And while they were all the same, every one of them was a little bit different. And some had much greater focus on durables, like Montgomery Ward. Some of them were much more fashion oriented. And so I just have such great fond memories of visiting Moss Brothers, for example, or even Gimbel's. So these are just samples. I mean, every major city had their representation of these, and almost all of these had furniture assortments inside. Typically, the upholstery assortment was stronger than the wood assortment. Now, some took it a step further, and in doing so, they started taking the furniture out of the stores, out of the department stores, into freestanding separate stores that may have had less expensive real estate costs. And these, the one that's missing on here, of course, is J.C. Penney's home store. But I remember going through Marshall Field's stores in Chicago, and I didn't go through a Dayton, but I went through Macy's. Goodness, I went through several of those. And the biggest disappointment I've ever been in my life was Sears Homelight. Gee whiz. The Sears people talked to me several times and explained to me how great it was. And I couldn't wait to go through one, and I went through. Unfortunately, other than two salesmen, I was the only person in the store. So it was dead quiet, and I walked in, and the first thing I noticed was the animatronic Ray Charles at the piano, who was standing there with a wolf dressed up as a lady dancer, and both of them, the animatronic characters were moving, but the sound didn't work, and it looked just silly. The other thing I remember so much about that store was it didn't flow at all. I walked through, and the little things I've been taught over the years is you pace yourself through a store. You start with the less expensive youth furniture, and you step up to, for a few more dollars, you can get this feature or benefit. For a few dollars more, you can step up to this. The Sears had the most expensive stuff sitting next to the cheapest stuff, and it made the cheap stuff look terrible, and it made the expensive stuff look tremendously overpriced. I walked out of that store just shaking my head that this is supposed to be revolutionary for the furniture industry. And I just thought to myself, they hadn't even learned the basics. And I grew up in a time when the powerhouses in our business were Levitt's and Sears. Sears Group 600 with Fred Daniel was a powerhouse. And when they walked into the showrooms in High Point, the crowds split open and everybody made room. And that's the business I grew up in, having all that respect for Sears. The other thing about Sears, since I'm bad-mouthing, is Sears is the only organization ever to have the ability to build homes, had a real estate organization to help you find a home. They also had the ability in-house to finance the home. Then they had virtually everything to go into your home, including your plumbing fixtures and your textiles and all that, all in their grasp to offer the consumer a package like no one else ever had. And in my humble opinion, they couldn't get their different departments to talk to each other enough to make it work. And it's a real shame because I think our consumer missed a wonderful opportunity there. Every one of these was in the top 10 sometime over the last 40 years. Levitt's dominated the top 10 for about 12 or 14 years. Levitt's, if you ever knew Ralph, Sidney, and Leon, they were as different as night and day. The brothers were very, very smart. They had started this concept based upon the warehouse sales that they used to have at their father's store in Eastern Pennsylvania. And people would come from Philadelphia, New York City, to come to their warehouse showrooms, their warehouse sales, because they could get the furniture and take it home with them that day. That was a new idea back then. And these Levitt's warehouse showrooms started a whole trend in warehouse showrooms. Circuit City was a knockoff of that. Toys R Us was a knockoff. And the Levitt stores were truly revolutionary, and a lot of people made their own versions. Siemens in New York City was always creative. Wix was sort of a dead knockoff of Levitt's in the showrooms. Sleepy's, it helped begin the trend towards the sleep shops. Rhodes, very sound chain in the Southeast that started a company called Crossroads, which was their warehouse showroom. There's Home Life again down on the bottom. Bombay, we all remember Bombay. Bombay's still around. Heilig Myers, based here in Richmond, wonderful people. Hyman, Sidney Myers, and Nat Crumline. What an interesting two brothers and a brother-in-law. Started this business, very credit-driven. They'd sell basically anything if you could put it on their internal financing. And at times they had boats, they had guns, they had diamond rings, they had all kinds of consumer electronics, and of course they had furniture and appliances. Very well run, exceptional, strong warehousing system. And it just bothers me that they went out of business the way they did. And I think it was August 16th of 2000 that they declared. Art Van, my very dear friend, Art Van Elslander, I'm still mourning the loss of both Art, the person, and Art Van, the chain. He allowed me to be on his board a couple of years, and I learned so much about the way stores should be operated. He was an inspirational individual, and the employee base there was as loyal as you'll ever see. Now, if you want to get back into some memories, you remember Waterbeds? I think they're making a comeback. I think our friend Keith Koenig down at City Stores is going to reintroduce them if he hadn't already. But actually, City Stores started out as City Waterbeds and then converted over to full-line furniture stores many, many moons ago. Unfinished furniture, there used to be a couple of chains of unfinished furniture, and Sears had a huge assortment of unfinished furniture that was very popular. You would go and you would go to a hardware store and you pick up some of your stain and some of your different finishing materials, and you take it home. And what you would find was most of this stuff would soak up more finishing material than you would think possible. And then it needed a lot of sanding. And oh, by the way, getting a finishing material to set properly was always a challenge. And all of a sudden you realize the benefit of buying fully furnished, fully assembled and finished furniture. Crate furniture. It was hot as a pistol there for a while. The first company doing it out of Raleigh was This End Up. There's several stories about how it started. I don't know, but a knockoff was Cargo. There's Pine Factory, Barn Door, the Crate American Furniture Store. There were a lot of different variations on this because basically anybody could make this in their garage. It's made out of yellow pine. They knock it together and it's very sound. It's very solid because it's heavy. And then they take the wood and they don't finish it. They drop it in a vat of finishing materials, pull it out. It's dripping all over the place. And then they sit down with a rag and wipe all the extra finish off. Not very sophisticated, but daggone, that stuff lasted forever. The best seller in the group was the bunk beds. They were indestructible. Even colleges bought their bunk beds. So this was a product designed for we young baby boomers. It was indestructible. It was inexpensive. The upholstery, you could easily buy the cushions to go on and give yourself a whole new look without paying much for anything. So crate furniture was a big deal in its time. Warehouse showrooms, I mentioned Levitt's in a minute. Imagine 120,000 square foot high cube warehouse. And the consumer would start at one end and have to walk through the long way through that warehouse. And the purpose of that was for them to be in awe of all that inventory. And all of the boxes had their brand names on the outside. So you saw Singer and Benchcraft, Pulaski, Berkline. You saw basically the names of the day up there. And the consumer could walk through and truly understand how they could get that product and take it home with them today. In fact, there was an ad that became very famous for Levitt's that had some of the a sofa strapped on top of Volkswagen Beetle. So that's the way it worked. Now, then you'd move through the entire warehouse into a 25,000 to 30,000 square foot showroom, single story, with a single path around. A lot of vignetted settings, very narrow assortment when you thought about it. But they had to have backup for all that in that warehouse you just walked through. And it was the first recognition that the consumer wanted instant gratification. They didn't want to order something to wait for it. And that's why Levitt's was successful. Young consumers wanted it today. So that's what created it. Another industry Levitt's changed forever is the automobile industry. The automobile industry didn't used to carry a huge inventory of cars. They carried an assortment of the different models. And you ordered what you wanted and waited 6 to 8 weeks. Not anymore. Levitt's created this idea of instant gratification, and that's where we got these huge new car lots that we have today. The other thing that began in the 60s and began to mature in the 70s and 80s were single source stores. The daddy rabbit here that started the whole thing was Ethan Allen. Baumritter Corporation, it was public. It was based in New York City. I used to go see them there. Nice people, great people. Ted Baumritter and his brother-in-law, Nat Ansel, ran this company, came up with some great styles. And one of their best styles was the Ethan Allen collection, which was modeled after furniture of the Revolutionary War, if you will. And again, it sold big time. It was in department stores, it was in furniture stores. And they came up with the idea one day that they wanted to control their distribution. So they started franchising or licensing, I really don't know which, different people across. And it became extremely popular, extremely profitable. And when we went through the recession of 1975-76, which was caused largely by too much inventory at retail, everybody looked over at Ethan Allen. Ethan Allen never had that problem because everything that was in the factories was a sold order. So people looked at that and the idea of controlling your distribution and having retailers that couldn't buy from anybody else just sounded like a warning flag. So Thomasville began opening up their stores. Bassett still has their Bassett Furniture Direct stores. Lazy Boy Shop started in 1977 as just recliner stores. and then they converted and now are a whole home store. Norwalk started out as choice seating. Wonderful people at Norwalk. America's Mattress was a single brand mattress store. Roy Hill had beautiful galleries and a lot of beautiful stores. Flex Steel, again, upholstery driven, but very strong. Mitchell Gold and Bob Williams still have their freestanding stores around the country. Drexel Heritage, I think, is probably the only one I can point to that out Ethan Allen. They really built some beautiful stores that were accessorized to the hilt and all the details to go with them. And it's a shame they're not around anymore. And Castro Convertibles, of course, introduced convertibles in a way in their own product made by them. Again, strong base. Now, the one that came up and started in the mid-1990s and outdid everybody else, as we know, was Ashley. Ashley, until about 1994, did not have any captive distribution. It sold freestanding furniture stores and a lot of other people. And as they grew, they wanted to open up their own stores. So they began licensing. And last time I looked, in the US, they had well over 600 stores. And of that, maybe a third are owned captive by Ashley Corporation, and about 2/3 are licensed and owned by individuals. And there are about 100 different licensees in their organization. One of the things when I visit with Ron Warnick that I always mention to him is actually the way they started that business, they allowed other people to participate in their business and grow it, created more millionaires than I think anybody else in the furniture industry ever has. If you look at who owns their stores now, it's a who's who in the furniture industry. And Ashley got all of them into this. Many of them had their own stores or opened their own stores later. Again, Scandinavian stores. I remember going up to Boston and looking at Scandinavian design, walking through and just being amazed. Beautiful. There was a Scan in Washington, D.C., which was a co-op. You joined and bought furniture as a co-op. Scandinavian design was, Scan Home was down in Atlanta. IKEA opened up in King of Prussia, Pennsylvania, just outside of Philadelphia. In 1976 or 77, huge store, massive crowds, traffic backed up for miles and miles. They opened up, no one ever seen anything quite like it. They opened up with very inexpensive furniture that was extremely functional. And people loved it, especially young people. And they were extremely successful. Now they had to make a few modifications. They had to change their bed sizes to our sizes, and they had to change the sofas a little bit softer for our taste than the sofas they sold in Europe. But again, it's right here. Roche Bobois, elegant furniture out of France. Pier 1 Imports that kind of imploded last year. I think it lost its identity. It was famous for bringing things in from the Philippines and Indonesia. They had a franchise for a while, but somehow got outdone elsewhere. Bombay, I always thought of Bombay as a gift store because they had all those miniatures in there that you could buy, and they were perfect. They looked like you were giving a $50 gift, but you actually paid $20. And I don't know how many people here are going to remember Biff. Biff was on the West Coast, and it was started, and it had licensees that were primarily Korean, because it was a Korean manufacturer that wanted to open its stores in the United States for Koreans who liked the stylings and the furniture they grew up with at home. Biff was here, and then you woke up one day and it was gone. The rental business changed retail. The rental business came up and showed the consumer could buy a different way than tying up their existing credit. And they were extremely successful. They allowed people that could not afford to finance furniture, and certainly not to pay cash for it, to be able to get furniture and other things, appliances, electronics, and do their homes, get started early, and they were extremely successful. Rent-A-Center and Aaron Rents are still extraordinary companies. Grand Tree kind of failed a few years ago. Court is still around, and they took a different path, and they went more towards the office and contract sector, but they still had some things in there that were good for consumer homes too. Upholstery stores. Does anybody here remember Sal Krause with Krause's Sofa Factory out in the West Coast? What a character. He had great ads on TV. They had the sofa completely stripped down to their frame in the front, and they just come on in. And you look at this, they showed you how they were going to put it together, and they did. Jennifer Convertibles, great company. Harley ran a great business. Norwalk Furniture, I mentioned again, they originally started out their stores as Choice Seating. Sofa Express in the Midwest, and Expressions, which was a custom upholstery operation that began in New Orleans and expanded from New Orleans. And for a while, they offered a custom option to the consumer that most stores could not. Then we had the North Carolina-based retailers. The largest remnant of that is Furniture Land South, which says it's the world's largest furniture store. And if you've ever gone there in bad shoes, you'll agree it is. But there were a bunch of these things at one time. Blackwellers over in Statesville, Boyles, Rose, all of these offered sort of a catalog at first, and then they would sell it to you by phone and then online. And as the business got more competitive, as retailing got more sophisticated, some of them just didn't make it. But Furniture Land South, I think, is still going very, very strong. And then the growth started in the 2000s with the lifestyle stores. The first one that I remember, at least in a big way, was Crate and Barrel. They came in, and the shock to the system wasn't the furniture. The shock to the system is they went after the most expensive real estate in fashion malls. And furniture stores historically have shied away from that expensive real estate. But they opened up there and created a brand identity that consumers liked. It was prestigious, and there were all the other things that you could buy for the home too. A lot of them gifts and so forth, like textiles. Pottery Barn and later West Elm came after that. Z Gallery came after that. Our House out of Ohio. Room and Board, fantastic chain run by John Gabbert out of Minneapolis. Beautiful stores. Not big stores. They've got about 15 or 16 in major cities around the country. They do almost everything custom order. And every year they send out a very sought after catalog. And that catalog gives their customers insight into the direction the company's going into. 95% of their merchandise is sourced domestically. Imagine that. About 5% is, and that 5% isn't because they want something cheap. They're buying it from Japan. They're buying it from Scandinavia or Germany. There's an item that they want that meets a design criteria that they need to fit their design portfolio. Very well thought out, very well done. Big. I think a lot of people will be surprised that they do probably half their business online to do that catalog. Again, beautiful. And Restoration Hardware, or RH. Gary built himself a terrific business. He's made a lot of decisions I don't understand, but I think I'm well below his level of intelligence. He's got these stores now that service the hotel business. Restoration Hardware was revolutionary when it came out. It continued to evolve. They continued to grow more towards the furnishing side, and they would go globally and find individual distinctive items that they could create just for their stores. They get a lot of marks for creativity, and the way they display and the expense they go to in their stores is extraordinary. They're specialty stores. They've been around a long time. And then in the last 2 decades, they just exploded. It was like you couldn't open enough of them. There have been locations where there was a different mattress specialty store on all four corners around a single stoplight. And when the mattress firm in some places, you had a couple of different mattress firm stores across the street from each other. They grew because they were profitable. Mattress stores were supported heavily by the vendors, the branded manufacturers of mattresses. Helped support these stores. They gave them fast delivery. They helped pay for the advertising. The stores had to carry minimal inventory because of the fast supply from their vendors. And so it wasn't a cash intense business. They didn't have a lot of damaged goods. They didn't have a lot of closeouts. It's a pretty slick way to make money. And so a lot of our individual stores took their bedding shops and moved them out as separate freestanding profit centers. There are a lot of them around. I remember seeing Dollar Mattress many years ago. Of course, Tempur-Pedic and Select Comfort both have some of their own stores. Select Comfort has all of their own stores. Again, it's an interesting concept, highly focused, extremely successful. And their challenge these days is fighting, one, the internet mattress retailers like Casper and its many clones, or the bed in a box, which can be found in almost every store everywhere now. So things in the mattress industry have changed. It's gotten very exciting. Another concept that really blossomed in the 80s and grew through the 90s were high-end custom order stores. And these were the places to go. Louis Shanks was one of my favorites. Bears, how can you not enjoy the Bear family and their businesses? Robb and Stuckey, very creative. What a lot of people didn't realize about Robb and Stuckey was they were owned by some land developers who would buy land on the west coast of Florida and develop the different condos. Gave Robb and Stuckey great insight into the needs in their condos. So people could go and recreate at Robb and Stuckey the exact look they wanted in the condo they had just bought. Great team, sold good stuff. The rest of these, unfortunately, some of them are gone, but they all gave us great insight into the custom order side of our business. Now, this side of the business has changed quite a bit, especially in this last decade, because what we found was that more and more of our import furniture was getting better quality, looking better, and it was getting more difficult to differentiate the really expensive, extraordinarily well-made custom furniture from some of the imports. And the example I use is there's a company here in Virginia called Hinkle Harris, makes gorgeous 18th century replicas. I like Highboys. Richmond, Virginia, it's kind of nice. But anyway, Hinkle Harris, in one of my favorite stores, had their Highboy in their beautiful solid cherry. It was regularly like 16 or 18,000. It was available for $9,995. And when I bought this condo, I thought seriously about buying that. But as I walked through the store, I found one that looked a whole lot like it. It was a different finish, but it was the same size, different hardware. It was made by Theodore Alexander, and it was $2,700. And it was a very fine piece of furniture. So do I, here, somebody that knows a little bit about the furniture industry, pay $10,000 to own sort of the original, or do I spend 1/4 of that to buy the import? That's what the challenge became. One of the last concepts I think really that's been catching on is having stores within stores. You go through a Nebraska furniture mart and they've got so much in every category. It's really hard to imagine not finding what you want there. R.C. Willey stores are huge. Of course, IKEA stores are as well, and they carry things in there that. In 2015, I had the opportunity to go through both a new home store up in Minneapolis, and it was beautiful. And in that store, they had a discount area. They had the main home part of the store. They had a high-end Gabbard store. And in the middle, they had a sleep shop that would service all those different retail outlets under that one roof. American Furniture Warehouse, sort of the same thing. Art Van, if you looked at his newest stores, he had the Art Van mainline merchandise. Then he had Scott and Shrub Trunk, which was the high-end decorator goods, all custom. Then he had his clearance center. Now, most people in our industry run a clearance center, and they put things in there that they have that are returns or scratch and dents or whatever the right term is. Art merchandised his centers, and they had great margins. A lot of people didn't understand that. And then he had his Pure Sleep shops, absolutely extraordinary stores. And then we've got our internet friends. They've done a lot of business. I continue to believe that a lot of what's sold on the internet is not the exact same merchandise that brick and mortar furniture stores sell. Much of it has been designed to be portable, transportable, delivered to the consumer, assembled by the consumer, unlike most of the furniture that we sell in traditional furniture stores. So I still believe there's a need for both, but you got to give it to Wayfair. They have knocked the cover off the ball. We've got a song that they sing to you that I can't get out of my head sometimes. They've done a good job. And then you look around, it was difficult to narrow it down just to a few names, but Amazon is doing more and more furniture, and they've got big plans for furniture. And you're going to see some things change there where they're going to create collections, and they'll be the ones who are going to be knocked off because they're going after certain styles. I wanted to have a little bit of a test at the end of this, not on what we've covered, but just some furniture knowledge. For example, how many out of the current Furniture Today top 100 furniture stores do you think operate Ashley Home Stores? I think most of us would be surprised when we see how many, and about 16 or 17 of our top 100 furniture stores also operate Ashley Home Stores. You look in there, and a lot of people don't recognize all these different major chains, important chains, people that we all know and respect, but they've also got Ashley furniture stores, Ashley Home Stores, I should say. Now the Ashley outlets, new thing. Another thing I wanted to ask people is if they remembered American-made dinettes. Dinettes used to be a huge business here in the U.S. Big companies sold, and they were very creative. But what a lot of people didn't realize is our government's increasing EPA rules and the like made making metal anything in the U.S. increasingly difficult. So these great creative dinette manufacturers have gone. Now it's just going to just could have named another 10 or 15. Douglas, they were huge, huge. Contempo, Chromecraft, big companies. Big companies. And I hate that we're just not seeing that product on the floors anymore. I think there's still a need for it. There's still a demand. Another thing is not that many people can remember, but we made recliners that weren't major motion, weren't multi-seat. And that's what we lived with for most of the 70s. They didn't have power and they didn't have multiple seats. They were recliners. And we had big recliner companies. And if you can think of 5 or 6, here I'll give you a few. Lazy Boy for a long time only made chairs. 2 recliners tied together. Strata Lounger was famous. Barca Lounger, Pontiac. Brookline created the close to the wall chair in 1974. Action. Burris was known for its high leg recliners. Franklin, Barcalounger, Kraler was huge in recliners. And I'm not sure that everybody remembers that. Well, I'm going to end up with asking you to think about two things. Just names. Just think about, see if you remember, Louis Philippe. Louis Philippe came into our industry in 1986 and exploded to become the dominant style. And then there was Lineage, which was sort of the opposite. Lineage never burst on the scene. And that was created to use made by its sister companies. It was very creative. They had music playing in the background of their stores that went with the merchandise. They had scents, the odors and fragrances that went with this. Each modest little room grouping had a signature item that told a story of where this collection came from. Very creative, but it didn't last very long. Now, we'll wrap this up. Jerry Epperson. Let's go to the last slide here if we may. I still publish a newsletter. My firm, Manor, Armstead and Epperson. The newsletter comes out now. Let's be honest. I put it out when I feel like it. It used to be monthly. Now I'm doing it when I feel like I've got something important to write about. So it comes out every other month or so. But my firm specializes in doing mergers and acquisitions and financing. Just within the last week or so, we're the company that sold Symbol Mattress to Corsicana, the people that own Corsicana. We're involved in those transactions every day. And that's the specialty of my firm, and that's what we'd like to help you with. I love the furniture industry. I'm appreciative of every day I'm associated with it. And thank all of you for joining me today. I hope I wasn't too boring. I get so excited about this stuff. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Jerry. As always, your insights are tremendously appreciated and always a great education. Folks may not know this, but Jerry Epperson is actually Furniture Today's longest tenured editorial contributor. His contributions to Furniture Today actually predate the founding of the publication in 1976. So Jerry, thank you. We appreciate your contributions throughout the years. But now it's time to give out some awards, so let's have some fun.
Hello everyone, I'm Doug Clamone, President and COO at Storis, and it is my privilege to welcome you to the awards portion of today's event. Our team is proud to be a part of the Furniture Today Top 100 40th Anniversary Celebration. As someone who began my career working in the home furnishings retail industry, I appreciate the hard work and sacrifice that goes into building and operating an enterprise business in this space. Congratulations on your placement here. It's no secret we are coming off a challenging year in retail. Being named to the top 100 list, which reflects 2020 performance, is a notable achievement that exemplifies the creativity and resilience of our industry. In fact, the growth attained this year demonstrates the fundamental role home furnishings plays in the lives of your customers. It also reflects the agility of the modern furniture retailer to craft a customer experience that meets the current needs of today's complex shopper. We feel blessed to be in a position to support that process and facilitate your success. At a time when people really needed their houses to become homes, this group rose to the occasion by helping create multifunctional environments and safe havens for hardworking individuals and families across the country. We just love being a part of this great industry. Storis serves more than a third of this year's top 100 retailers, and we want to congratulate our valued partners on your 2021 placement. Behind me is our wall of fame, where we proudly display testimonials from these clients, as well as many others. This past year, we watched you dive headfirst into the next phases of your technology journeys. You enhanced your e-commerce offering, improved your customer experience, optimized your logistics, and mobilized your teams. Several of you are receiving well-deserved awards today for your accomplishments, and we are proud to be associated with you. Storis has been laser focused on this industry for over 30 years, and we've had the privilege of working with top 100 retailers since the very beginning. As you know, technology evolves rapidly, and it is our retail partners that challenge us to create and innovate, to anticipate market requirements, and ultimately exceed customer expectations. Your success is our success. So on behalf of the fantastic team here at Storis, congratulations to every retailer appearing on the 2021 Furniture Today Top 100 list, and especially to those receiving awards today. You have earned this recognition, you deserve to be proud, and we can't wait to see what you'll do for an encore.
In 1981, the first year that Furniture Today ranked American furniture retailers, as you heard earlier and Mark said, Ronald Reagan had just been inaugurated president. The unemployment rate that year was 8.5%. The economy grew 2.5% after shrinking 0.3% the previous year. The top grossing movie was Raiders of the Lost Ark. Dun, 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 dun. While Ordinary People took home the Academy Award for Best Picture. Bright colors, big hair, and balloon pants were the height of fashion, and Pac-Man was the most popular arcade game at a time when video games and payphones both took coins to operate. If you're under 40, a payphone, you put money in, it goes, and you call. Just 5 years old at the time, Furniture Today undertook the unprecedented task of developing a ranking of American furniture retailers. That first year, it was not called Top 100. It debuted under the very sexy title, The Nation's Foremost Furniture Retailers, ranked in 4 categories. The 4 categories that year were over $100 million in sales. Only 5 retailers then qualified. $50 to $99 million in sales, $25 to $49 million, and $10 million to $24 million in sales. In all, 70 companies were ranked within those initial 4 categories. It wasn't until 1983 that the now iconic list would find the name that has come to represent an entire class of furniture retailers. The Top 100 has become a daily part of the furniture industry lexicon, and today is often used as a classification for furniture retailers of a particular size and scope. To celebrate the 40th anniversary of Furniture Today's Top 100 Furniture Stores list, we wanted to recognize some of the companies that have contributed to the industry and to the history of this closely watched list. The Top 100 ranking has traced the emergence of new channels of distribution, including sleep specialty shops, lifestyle retailers, and many more. It has chronicled the rise and fall of retailers, both large and small, and it has traced the emergence, growth, and dominance of some of today's most significant furniture retailers. Please join us in celebrating all those companies that have appeared on this list over the years, as well as some of the select retailers we would like to honor for their unique achievements. The first honoree we would like to recognize is what we are calling the Leader of the Pack. The Leader of the Pack Award, it will come as no surprise that it recognizes the industry dominance of Ashley Home Stores, whose 15-year run at the pinnacle of the Top 100 has set a standard that is unlikely to be matched, until of course Ashley makes it a 30-year run. The first Ashley Furniture Home Store opened in Anchorage, Alaska in 1997. While it drew little attention at the time, it opened a chapter of retail expansion that had not been seen before and has not been seen since. Within 6 years, Ashley Furniture Home Stores, as they were then called, would crack the top 25 furniture retailers list and surpass Walmart, the Bentonville behemoth, in annual furniture sales. At the time, our keynote speaker, Jerry Epperson, called Ashley the Walmart of our industry, praising them for their best-in-class logistics and the ability to deliver affordable, quality furniture at a scale that had never been seen before. 4 years later, in 2007, Ashley would capture the top spot on FT's Top 100 Furniture Stores list, becoming the first furniture retailer to surpass $2 billion in sales. It is a position they have never relinquished. To put this accomplishment in perspective, in 1981, when Furniture Today unveiled the very first industry ranking of furniture retailers, the top spot was held by Levitt's, whose $500.8 million in sales was double its nearest competitor. Even today, 40 years later, only 7 furniture store operators can boast sales in excess of $2 billion, and Ashley Home Store remains the leader of the pack. Furniture Today is honored to recognize Ashley Home Store as the top 100 40th anniversary leader of the pack. Our next award is for sustained excellence. Over the past 40 years, the top 100 list has chronicled the rise and fall of many venerable furniture retailers. It has traced the rise of new retail formats, new channels of distribution, and the evolution of furniture retail as a whole. The list has tracked retail performance through multiple recessions, even a Great Recession, and has followed the industry's evolution as it confronted changing domestic and international market conditions, dramatic shifts in sourcing, a technological revolution, and through generational change. Through that period, only 10 retailers whose names appeared on the original Furniture Today ranking still remain on the list in their original form. Others continue in the business today and are no less important for their new ownership or business structure. However, only this original group of 10 retailers appear on the list today, just as they did in 1981. For that ability to prevail no matter the obstacles, to remain true to their customers and their convictions, and to stand the test of time, Furniture Today would like to recognize these 10 furniture retailers for sustained excellence. And they are Haverty's, W.S. Badcock, now known as Badcock Home Furniture and More, Kane, now Kane's Furniture, Kimbrell's, Lax Stores, now Lax Valley Stores, Grand Piano and Furniture, now they're known as Grand Home Furnishings, Haynes, Kittles, Schul Furniture, now Schul's Home, and C.S. Woe. Congratulations to these 10 companies for 40 years of continued excellence, and we wish you many, many more.
Klusner Home Furnishings would like to congratulate Jim Kittle, Eric Easter, and the entire Kittle team on receiving this prestigious honor. Since 1932, Kittle's has been providing a wonderful shopping experience to its consumers, and we're thankful to have them as a valued retail partner for the last 32 years. Kittle's holds many high honors, such as being recognized as a top workplace, awarded National Furniture Retailer of the Year by Furniture Today, and is one of the leading fundraisers in the country for the Alzheimer's Association. Today, Kittle's is one of 9 retailers from the original list of 1981 that still operates under the same ownership. They've truly stood the test of time. Congratulations, Kittle's.
We here at ICO are so pleased to honor Kane's Furniture and congratulate Erwin Novak and his team for this Sustainability Award. Starting in 1948, 70 years ago, the vision that Maurice Rothman had to grow Kane's Furniture into what is today 18 stores is most impressive. When you go back in history and see the growth of Kane to Kane's, you really see the impact that Erwin brought as he mentored under Maurice. From the time Erwin joined the company in 1979, the company acquired Save-On Furniture as a division of Kane's and quickly began adding locations throughout Central Florida. It was clear that Erwin was leaving his mark on the company when, under his leadership, the company moved into the state-of-the-art distribution center and corporate office in Pinellas Park. Erwin, we consider you and Patty dear friends, and we are thrilled to honor the Kane's legacy and your entire team with great pride. We have all been through many challenges in this industry, and as our good friend Martin Ploy often says, it's great to do business, but even more special when you can do business with the people you like. Congratulations from our ICO family on this honor by Furniture Today, and all of the best in your continued growth. Thank you.
Greetings from New Classic Home Furnishings. Congratulations to all of today's recipients. A special congratulations to Badcock Home Furnishings and More for the receipt of the Sustained Excellence Award. From your very beginning in 1904 in Mulberry, Florida, to today, over 117 years later, with over 370 stores in 8 different states, sustaining excellence is obviously what you have done and what you will continue to do. It is our honor at New Classic to continue this journey with you moving forward, our privilege to call you partners in the truest sense of the word, and a blessing to call each of you friends. Congratulations to all, and especially Badcock Home Furnishings and More. Thank you.
It's really a great privilege to honor Lax Furniture for the Furniture Today Sustainability Award. While this award spans 40 years of companies in the top 100, it's truly amazing to think that Lax Furniture has been operating in Texas for over 85 years. What's even more impressive is that Lax Furniture is a 4th-generation family-owned business that's still growing strong. From the early days when Sam Lax established his first store in McAllen and expanded quickly, Lax was a flourishing business providing services to their customers. Sam's son-in-law, Miles Aronson, then took the reins and, working with Al Moffett, implemented a gallery concept at Lax Valley stores. For me personally and our ICO team, it really has been a pleasure working with 3rd generation, led by Miles' son, my friend Lee Aronson, the current CEO. Lee, we are honored to be part of Lax's great history, and we are thrilled that your son Seth is in place to continue one of the great family legacies in our industry. Congratulations to the entire Lax team and the Aronson family for your commitment to your employees, customers, and our industry. It's truly a joy to be part of your legacy. Thank you.
Our next award is for fastest growing. While the furniture industry as a whole continues to grow at a modest single-digit pace every year, there are a few standout retailers who defy the odds to rack up eye-catching growth numbers. In 2020, that standout retailer who outpaced them all was Lovesac, whose performance put it among the leaders in 4 of the 5 metrics Furniture Today uses to compile its fastest growing ranking. In 2020, Lovesac captured the fastest growing honor by increasing its same-store sales 43.4%, delivering dollar sales gains of 40.7% to $233.34 million. Is it a coincidence that it was 40.7% on our 40th anniversary? I think not. And they also delivered a whopping 21.3% increase in new stores with 16 openings. The Stamford, Connecticut-based publicly held company currently has showrooms located in top-tier malls in 35 states, in lifestyle centers, and in standalone locations. It has also hosted more than 550 10-day pop-up shops at various Costco locations and opened shop-in-shops at select Macy's and Best Buy stores. Please join us in congratulating Lovesac with this fastest growing award. Our next award will honor what we call Rookies of the Year. While many once venerable companies have fallen from the top 100 ranking over the past 40 years, each year sees a fresh crop of rookies join, or in some instances rejoin, the list. Many of today's leading companies, including our earlier leader of the pack honoree, Ashley, were at one time rookies on the top 100 list. The 2020 top 100 list saw 3 companies take their place along their prestigious industry peers. We would like to congratulate these rookies. Although they are by no means rookies in business, they are rookies on the top 100, and they are Herman Miller, who debuted on the list at number 40, Empresa Berrios, which clocked in at number 73, and Belfort, who hit the list at number 100. Congratulations to each of these Rookies of the Year. We hope to see you on the list for many, many years to come. Our final award today is actually not tied to the top 100, but it is tied in some ways to the future of the furniture industry. As we all know, sustainability is growing more important every single day, and our honoree for this Green Award has consistently been among the leaders, if not the leader in the industry, when it comes to supporting sustainability and environmental responsibility across its entire business. And that honoree is City Furniture. Let me just read you a few of City Furniture's efforts to go green and support sustainability, and to give you an idea of how long a commitment this is. City Furniture has been recycling all office and showroom paper waste since 1980, even before the top 100 list was started. They are founding members of the Sustainable Furnishings Council. City Furniture recycles all of its packaging used. In 2001, City created a recycling center in its operations department. In April 2014, City converted 51 trucks to compressed natural gas. And as of May 2018, 80 of the 100 trucks have been converted to natural gas. Their Boca Raton City Furniture showroom, opened in January 2011, is the first green furniture store in Florida using rooftop solar tubes for daylight harvesting, LED lighting inside and out. This location is South Florida's first full-line furniture store pursuing leadership in energy and environmental design. That's LEED certification from the U.S. Green Building Council. On behalf of the entire Furniture Today team and the entire furniture industry, we would like to recognize City Furniture for their outstanding efforts at sustainability and present them with this Green Award for 2021.
Hi, I'm Tony Milano, CEO of Servco North America.
And I'm Chris Shaw, Servco's president. Today, we're here to talk about some of our favorite people in the home furnishings industry, the tremendous leadership team at City Furniture.
From the Waterbed City days, the transition to City Furniture, and now as a regional powerhouse, it has been an honor to be a partner for over 30 years. City Furniture has been and continues to be a model for the industry.
Through our relationship with City Furniture, we've witnessed firsthand their dedication to giving back to the local community. Through their efforts, they have led the Heart Walk in raising $1.5 million for the American Heart Association this year, contributing $100,000 to the American Cancer Society, providing furniture and masks for the healthcare heroes, and much, much more. City Furniture is dedicated in making an impact, investing in their team, the City family, with a commitment to become carbon neutral by 2040.
City Furniture puts their community and people first and leads through serving. We are privileged to announce the honoree, City Furniture. Congratulations.
Well, thanks for joining us as we took that trip down memory lane. We really appreciate being able to honor all of the great retailers over the past 40 years, and in particular, those who have really made their mark. Mark, thank you for taking the time with us today and for sharing this with our audience.
Absolutely, Bill. Thank you for having us. How about this? Let's don't wait 40 years to do this again.
That's a plan.
Fantastic. So on behalf of the Genesis Credit team, thank you very much. We've had a great time doing the show with Bill and the team today, and we look forward to doing it again very soon.
And not 40 years from now.